Hi everyone, welcome to another BricksMembers tutorial. This one is about user levels. I will show you or tell you what user levels are and what you can do with them, how to create your first user levels, and also how to apply them to users. There is of course also the question how to apply them to posts as required levels, but I will come to that in the content protection tutorial because it fits a bit better there. So if you're looking for this specific information, then you will find this tutorial linked together with the documentation in the description of this video. In case the video is not out yet, then you can look that up in the documentation, but it will come out in the next few days, so you won't have to wait long. Anyway, let's get right into it. What are user levels and how to use them? First, user levels are essentially level names that you apply to both users and posts, and you can apply as many of them as you want to both users and posts. And then the BricksMembers logic looks for if any of the user levels that the user has match any of the required levels that the post that he is currently on or in a query loop has. And based on that, you can use conditional logic, query loop filters, or also redirect directly so that you can restrict the content and only show specific content to specific users. And now you can essentially use user levels in three ways, and you can use it at the same time in all those ways. And that's at first that if, for example, you have an online course, for example, here on my own membership site, I have multiple courses here, camera basics course, for example, cinematic GoPro masterclass, creator crash course or so, then you can use one user level per course so that all the content within a certain course is restricted only to users with that level. And second is that you can use a user level as a kind of all access pass or so. So if, for example, you want to have one user level that gives the user access to all content you have on a page, you can do that as well. That's, for example, here on my membership site, the Learn with Pascal all access pass that literally gives access to everything. And of course, it mustn't be everything. It can also be just a certain amount of content, like multiple courses or so, but not everything on your site. That, for example, I have that here with Learn with Pascal Core or Elite, etc. There you get access to certain parts of the membership site, but not all, except for Elite that actually gives access to all as well. And third is that you can also use user levels for subscriptions. For example, if you had a WordPress Mastery membership, then one subscription level could be WordPress Mastery Basic and the other one could be WordPress Mastery Pro. And then BricksMembers would also show content based on those levels. These are essentially just normal levels, but you can tell BricksMembers that it's subscription levels. And so if a user upgrades or downgrades between those levels, it will automatically assign or remove any of those levels. And of course, you can use all three types of user levels together. Like there are not even different types, there are just user levels, there are no three types. It's like you define with each user levels by what posts you apply those levels to, what content which users should see. So it's actually super simple, but also quite powerful because you can build pretty much or every memberships type that I can think of using this level system. So let me show you how to create user levels. It's like here in the BricksMembers sidebar under settings, you go to user levels, and there it's very easy to understand. You just click create your first user level here, or later when you already have some, add new level. And then this new page here opens. There you can give it a level name. Let's actually call it WordPress Mastery here. You can give it a description or not, it really doesn't matter. The description is just there for you. So let's call it a VP or WP Mastery Course Main here or something like that. And then link target. Now, link target is interesting for when you want to show which user levels a certain user has on his user dashboard, for example, because then it will automatically link the user level if you use the link attribute in the dynamic tag to whatever link you put in here. That can be an internal page, that can be an external URL or so. And that's, for example, useful in case every user level equals one course, because then you can link the user levels directly to the course pages or also externally to your shop pages so that people can purchase your courses in case they don't have to. So here, just select whatever you want. I don't know what pages do we have here currently. Contact home. Yeah, let's just link it to home for now, just so you see how it works. Home, of course, you can change it later at any time. Like, you don't have to set up a link target here in case you don't have any content on your website yet. You can at any time come back to the screen here, not at user level, but edit user level screen, and change it to however you want. And yeah, then we click create level, and that's it. We just created our first user level. So now I can apply this WordPress mastery level to posts that belong to the WordPress mastery course or whatever content you have there. And then you can restrict that content in Bricks Builder to users that have this user level. And of course, you can create multiple ones. Let's say the WordPress Mastery one was now for lifetime access to the WordPress Mastery course. But let's say you have many other tiers there. Maybe you have some downloads as well, or some other courses, and you only want to sell them with subscriptions. Then we could, for example, do WP Mastery. Yeah, let's choose basic here. We don't need a subscription or link target for that. So create it. Now we see here WP Mastery Basic. Let's create another one. WP Mastery Pro. And create level. And now I could use the basic and pro here for subscriptions, while I also sell a lifetime tier for the WordPress Mastery course. So creating user levels is super easy, but now the question is how you assign them to users. There are essentially three ways. There's at first the manual way, then via payment providers automatically whenever someone purchases a subscription, or he changes a subscription, or he purchases a course or so, like any sort of product really. And also via CSV in case you migrate your website or your user base essentially to your newly created BricksMembers page. And of course, you want all users to get the right user levels directly. So let's go through all of them. At first, let's say you want to manually apply them to your own user, for example, for testing or also other stuff. Let's say you have some users already and you don't have a CSV or so. Then you find that here, when you go to the user level, to the user edit screen under BricksMembers and access levels, there you find now WordPress Mastery, WordPress Mastery Basic, and WordPress Mastery Pro. And yeah, just select whatever you want. Like I could now select, for example, here WordPress Mastery, click Update Profile, and you see now it's been applied to that user. So that's as simple as it gets, but of course it's usually not what you want. What you want is to do it automatically, unless you really do it for your own administrator or so. So to do it automatically, if someone purchases something, you will have to set it up in the webhook mapping page here. So on that page, of course, I will make a full tutorial video about how to connect your payment providers to BricksMembers, but to show you that here already, here you have the user level mapping card, and there you already see the 3 user levels that we've created. They're automatically there, like whenever you add a user level, it will appear here. And what you simply do here is that you map the product name or variant name to the correct user level, so that the logic knows what level to apply for which product. And of course, it can be a product name. It can also be a product ID. You just need a unique identifier here. And of course, I can also show you how that looks like on my own website. So if I go to webhook mapping here, we have a test webhook data available. As you can see here, the JSON field from the webhook data attributes product name contains learn with Pascal, and data attributes variant name contains elite. And now if I scroll down here, we see the mapping learn with Pascal elite user level is mapped to the product name learn with Pascal and variant name elite. And it retrieves those directly from those JSON fields here. Like here, we have user level webhook fields. And there you see data attributes product name, and also in case the first purchased and first order item product name, and data attributes variant name, and data attributes first order item variant name. So whenever any of those fields contain any of those values here, product names or IDs, however you set that up, it will automatically apply the user level whenever a user purchases your product. And you can set that up with as many products and user levels, subscriptions, etc. as you want. And talking about subscriptions, there's one more thing you might need to know. Like, of course, I will explain it more in depth in that webhook or payment provider integration tutorial. But anyway, here it is. We also have the subscriptions part here. So whenever you have subscription user levels, you can just check which of those user levels here belong to a subscription, which is important because let's say a user changes from a lower subscription tier to a higher subscription tier, then essentially what the logic does is it removes the existing user level and applies the new user level. And of course, if now, let's say your user already purchased some lifetime access to some other products, then the logic would essentially remove all existing user levels and replace them with the new subscription level. So the user would lose the lifetime access to other courses. But by telling the logic here at the bottom what user levels belong to a subscription, it knows exactly what user level to remove and what to add in case there's a subscription change. So the user will still keep having access to the lifetime purchases. So it's like an extension of that mapping here at in the middle of the page. So this is essentially how you want user levels to be applied most of the time, because it happens automatically whenever someone purchases. But of course, there is the initial one. Let's say you already have users, then you simply go to the CSV import export page here. And here it's actually quite similar to the webhook mapping page. Like you see, we also have column names here from that CSV file. So here we have the user level trigger column, and this column here in my CSV would now be BRM user levels. And here then I can also map those levels. So here you always find the user level name and here the mapping from the CSV. So here, if there would be the value camera basics course in the current row in the BRM user levels column in the CSV file, then it would automatically assign the camera basics course user level to this user. And of course, it could also be IDs. So if, let's say, camera basics course would have the ID 001, and this ID would appear in the column on the BRM user levels, then it would also assign the camera basics course user level here. But let's reverse that. And of course, you have lots of other options here to map some custom fields from the CSV in case you want some like social media fields or something like that. And what you can also do on this page is export all users of the current website in a CSV file, including all the user levels and all other data, so that you can easily also move to other providers or also to migrate your BricksMembers site to a completely new installation. It's all possible here. We're not locking you in. So that's all you really have to understand about user levels in BricksMembers. It's very simple actually, but also really powerful. And of course, the next thing that you have to understand about them is how to apply them to posts as required levels, so they do actually restrict your content. And for that, definitely watch the content protection tutorial, which will come out in a few days. I will link that here in the corner when it does. And if it's not out yet by the time you're watching this video, check out the description because there's a link to our documentation, which also tells you how that works. I will also leave a link to the video there when it's out, because sometimes on some devices it doesn't actually show up here in the corner. And aside from that, one tutorial I will release before that will be the access control tutorial about the access control page here, which is also important for content restriction because obviously you don't want your content to be shown to users that are not logged in. And this is stuff that you can control on this page here. So also watch this tutorial next.